So the stream disconnected, got cut off in the middle of the fucking live stream, lost all my viewers. Fan fucking tastic. I guess I have to wait for everybody to come back into the fucking live stream. Honestly, this shit just really pissed me the fuck off. I know I'm supposed to, you know, play it smooth and all of that and just keep the show going. That really pissed me the fuck off, and I almost don't even want to do the rest of this fucking live stream, to be real with you. Because all the fucking comments are gone. Because I just set up another fucking live stream. Uh, Give me a second, everybody. I have to wait for people to come back into the live stream because yo, I don't even want to do this fucking. I just don't even want to do this shit no more. To be real with you, I don't even. I'm fucking tired of this shit. I have to do the whole fucking. Y'all fucking killing me. Y'all are fucking killing me. Guys, I have to do this shit. Can you just share the stream so people would see it because nobody's fucking here anymore? That'd be nice. Now I gotta figure out how I'm supposed to put these fucking videos together. Oh my god. Okay. Whatever. I guess nobody else coming into the fucking. I guess nobody else coming into the fucking live stream, so might as well pick up where I left off. If anybody can contribute, that'd be nice. Make this night slightly less shitty. I had to just put all the links back in the description box. I had to put the link to Cash App back in the live chat. If anybody wants to contribute, that'd be welcomed. Okay. quote, in August of this year, after the full approval of Pfizer's vaccine, the FDA published a summary of its inspection of the company's pivotal trial. Nine of the trial's 153 sites were inspected. Vantavia's sites were not listed among the nine, and no inspections of sites where adults were recruited to take place in the 8 months after the December 2020 emergency authorization. The FDA inspection officer noted, quote, the data integrity and verification portion of the BIMO bio research monitoring inspections were limited because the study was ongoing and the data required for verification and comparison were not yet available to the investigation into the investigational new drug. All right, so I have other quotes to show you, I guess. And so that's another thing now. A bunch of my shit is out of order, and I swear to God, I'm missing quotes out of this shit. This is another quote. Vantavia lacked enough employees to swab all trial participants who reported COVID like symptoms to test for infection. Laboratory confirmed symptomatic COVID 19 was the trial's primary endpoint. The employee noted an FDA review memorandum released in August this year states that across the full trial, swabs were not taken from 477 people with suspected cases of symptomatic COVID. Quote, I don't think it was good clean data, the employee said of the data Vantavia generated for the Pfizer trial. Quote, it's a crazy mess. A second employee also described an environment at Vantavia unlike she had experienced in her 20 years doing research. She told the BMJ that shortly after Vantavia fired Jackson, Pfizer was notified of problems at Vantavia with vaccine trial and that an audit took place. So before I go any further, the FDA only inspected 9 out of 153 sites where this trial took place. None of them were Vantavia sites that we clearly there was a bunch of bullshit and chicanery going on at this company, and none of those were inspected by the FDA. And so there are many reasons to call into the question that came out of those sites, and we know that for a fact because the regional director and a clinical research trial auditor who was working there for 2 weeks listed all of the reasons why the data should be called into question, specifically from Vantavia. But that's not it, because do you think you really think it was just one company fucking up so bad, and it was the amount of fuck ups were through the roof, that and the data was so mismanaged? You think that all of those things were only happening in one site? So again, this calls into question the entire trial and the accuracy of this data. And then the last quote I read about, they didn't even swab people over 477 people who in the trial for a vaccine presented with symptoms of the virus that they're trying to prevent people from getting, but they were so understaffed that they couldn't test almost 500 people. So that's almost 500 people who could have been data points showing that the vaccine isn't as effective as they're selling it as, but they didn't have enough people to test them. And again, the argument that it's incompetence strains credulity when there's a cover up and there's absolutely no attempt to rectify the situation and correct it. So make with it what you will. I have one more quote to share with you from the BMJ article. Since Jackson reported problems with Vantavia to the FDA in September 2020, Pfizer has fired Vantavia excuse me, you would have thought Pfizer has hired Vantavia as a research subcontractor on 4 other vaccine clinical trials, COVID-19 vaccines in children and young adults, pregnant women, and a booster dose. So even after all of that, Pfizer still goes and uses this sketchy ass company to conduct even further trials on the COVID-19 vaccine. Right? This is wild. And so now again, now you already know the practices that's going on in these companies. It calls into question the accuracy for all the other data that they're presenting when it comes to the booster shots, when it comes to whether it's safe for children or not, because these people clearly are not to be trusted to conduct a clinical trials, and so this is just mounting evidence on as to why people should be skeptical of these vaccines. I've never been anti-vax. I've never told people don't get them. If you have if you're extremely at risk of severe illness or dying from COVID, you should get the vaccine, because from what we can tell, it reduces the chances of severe illness and dying. But there's a lot to be answered for here. They don't work as they're sold. We know this already. Multiple studies like the one in the European Journal for Epidemiology, study in the Lancet, the study the most recent one that came out that said they rapidly, dramatically lose effectiveness after months of the original vaccination. So all of these studies are showing, and the studies that show that like I mentioned earlier, the European Journal for Epidemiology, that showed people who are vaccinated still spread the virus as much as people who are unvaccinated. That's not me saying this. That again, that's what the findings in the European Journal for Epidemiology showed. They looked at the data from thousands of counties in the U.S., over 60 countries around the world, places that were extremely high rates of vaccination, we're still seeing record numbers of COVID cases because they weren't effective at preventing the spread of the virus, which is what they were sold as originally. Everybody was saying, take the vaccine so we can stop the pandemic. But clearly, once you get the vaccine, you can still spread it. And so again, there's just many red flags. You can open a fucking red flag factory off of the things that we've learned about what has gone into the process of authorizing these vaccines and how effective they are once they've been out in the public. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was an important story. I think I can find your live chats from the stream before it got cut. I'll try to go through some of those. I never, like half the people who were watching before never even came back. If you, like I said, if you're able to contribute to the stream, links are in the live chat. I've linked to Cash App pinned in the live chat. In the description box of the video, there are links to Streamlabs, so you could have a donation pop up on the screen. There are links to PayPal if you want to do a one-time contribution. There are links to Patreon, links to GoFundMe. Anything you guys can do to help out, I'd greatly appreciate. So let me see if I could go to your earlier comments. Oh well, that was a lie. Cannot go back to your comments. Well, at least not most of them anyway. So this is the part of the stream where I usually like the most. I get to interact with you all, and you see your responses to the segment. There aren't really much comments here, so I guess I'm just gonna read what's here and go to the next story. Because the stream got cut off, so that's fucking great. People saying, yeah, we're back. I see Jody's in the chat. What's up, Jody? Thanks for tweeting out the link to the stream. Phenomenal Mysticism says Pfizer is one of the most sued companies in the world. If you search Pfizer sued, you'll find an endless number of search engine results. Pfizer clearly has an ethical dilemma. Yeah, so again, there's just so many reasons for people to be skeptical of Pfizer to pick a specific example. So many reasons to be skeptical. They've paid out billions of dollars in fine for lying and falsifying data in clinical trials and misleading the public about what their drugs do. They've already paid millions of dollars in fines, billions of dollars in fines. In any sane world, the executives would be in prison and the company would have been dissolved or nationalized. And it hasn't. And they still do everything at for their profit motive and their bottom line. And I think it's incredibly naive to try to remove what we already know about Pfizer and how they conduct business and act like that's completely separate from this new vaccine that they're rolling out that they're making billions of dollars from. Yo, I'm so fucking hot right now because it's... And then I have to find a way, and I gotta download both of these streams. I gotta cut them together Some of the shit was already missing. Jody, thank you again. Jody donates like damn near every stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. $10 through Streamlabs. Jody says sorry if your stream got cut. Pfizer's well known in Big Pharma as a shady company. Nothing has changed over the years. Hey, if you look at some of these people, you look at some of these people in left media. They have literally nothing to say. There's no questions. There are no concerns raised about how ethical or trustworthy Pfizer is. None of that. It's just, hey, this is what everybody's telling me. This is what the media's telling me. This is what Dr. Fauci's telling me. This is what all the experts are telling me. All the experts who are conveniently tied to Big Pharma. This is what they're all telling me. So I'm not going to ask any questions. If you get your information from elsewhere, that's usually how it goes. Name is Mike says I've been shamed over and over by the zealots for not wanting to take any of these experimental holy water and point out that the studies would never listen in the real science to the, but they never listen to the real science. Yeah, all these people, it's this and I like this description, this vaccine cult. They claim that they hold science above everything, but they're the most anti-science because they refuse to ever engage in any of the points that any of the points that call into question the efficacy and around these vaccines or the data around these vaccines. It's like the only data that matters is the ones that confirmed their belief that these vaccines are great and they're going to save the world. And anything else is like they just don't even, it doesn't even exist to them. North American Ape says I feel most of progressive media that's playing its quote safe on COVID still want to be seen as moderate. Yeah, that's a big problem with this independent media in general. A lot of the times, they won't say what is needed to be said, what the moment requires, what the moment calls on, because they, especially the bigger hosts in new media, they have friends in like the Justice Democrats congressional office. They have friends that work for Bernie Sanders and friends at Our Revolution, and they know Nina Turner, and so all of these people who are insiders but pretend to be left, they're all friends with them, and they don't want to uh, uh, appear like the crazy radical leftists. That's why some of them bend over backwards to give Joe Biden credit. Why are you bending over backwards to give a lying warmongering corrupt politician credit? I can't think of a legit explanation for that, but a lot of times they do it because they don't want to be seen crazy by their friends that are insiders and want to play the inside game. That's definitely part of it. And also a lot of people in the audience. So they're forming audience of shit libs and DNC adjacent lefties, and so they also don't want to upset their audience. Jody says, "Glad the stream got back up." I guess I can say that myself too. Jody also said, "Oh, Web Pilgrim says, a kind of like how some techies don't want their kids to use social media, etc." Uh, Jody says, "I used to work for Big Pharma. If people knew what I knew, they would question everything." And that's something that I really struggle with on this show, is because a lot of us, we everybody in this audience has maybe had different experiences, but we our experiences have informed us, and some we have some overlapping information that has radicalized us that we all might be in on. But the thing is, it's so one. I know that not everybody has access to the information that we do. That's kind of radicalized us and changed our worldview. I know that for a fact. But then also the people in this space who give commentary, it's hard to tell. Like, do they not know what I know? Because they definitely should if we're doing the same fucking job. So it's like a weird thing. It really is a weird dilemma, and you don't know who actually knows it, but they're like just bullshitting and playing dumb, and who just doesn't know it and is just ignorant. But yeah, Jody, I wish more people. It was easier to like implant our own experiences in other people's minds so that they could just understand where we're coming from. Name is Mike. Unapologetic. Do you have a crypto wallet? I love to donate with crypto. Um, this is the second stream in a row I've been asked about it. Somebody kind of explained, gave me more of an explanation in the crypto because I was very honest that I'm wildly ignorant on the topic. They gave me some resources. I looked into it a little bit more. I mean, my opinion hasn't changed. I mean, there's, I can't. It wouldn't hurt to have a Bitcoin wallet or like a some type of crypto wallet. Again, this is the second time. Actually, this is more than the second time I've been asked about it. I'll, I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't even really expect to make it much money. I'll probably, I'm probably gonna put in a lot of effort into making this wallet and not really get anything out of it. But I'll just do it anyway, just so I can have something for when people ask. North American, excuse me, name is Mike says. He said this to North American Ape. Even Jimmy Dore dances a fine line with covering COVID and the vaccines. Is probably due to getting censored and losing monetization on YouTube. Look, I'm. It's unrealistic to say that nobody is concerned about the repercussions from YouTube if you challenge the official COVID narrative. Everybody, even everybody who does it, it's a thought in their mind. Okay, if I say this, is this going to get my channel another strike? Is this what's going to get my channel taken down? It is a thought that a lot of people have. People do what they can to um, avoid it, uh, and it does lead to some self censorship. I, I can't say the exact way people need to go about this, or there's no perfect blueprint or anything like that. This new age of censorship is unprecedented. The control that they have, and they're just the way that they arbitrarily will just they don't give a fuck, and especially a channel my size or even the combo colors, they will take your shit down immediately and not give a fuck. So it is it's a dangerous game we're all playing trying to talk about these things on YouTube. But that being said, there are ways to do it. I try to get creative in the ways I do it. After that I got that strike, I got that video. YouTube took that video down of my when I played that clip of Dr. Robert Malone and Jimmy Dore. They took that video down, and um from then I was like, I'm not going to not cover these things because these are important topics, and the places where my audience can find this information is very limited, so I'm not going to just not talk about it. Um, I said I was going to keep talking about it even if it gets my channel taken down, but that doesn't mean I'm going to just be reckless about it. I try to be careful in the way I title things. Um, yeah, and I try to put the most controversial commentary on the COVID narrative into, like, for example, like the video I'm gonna do right now where I'm talking about Kyle Kulinski and his takes on the vaccine. I'll definitely add in, like, that'd be a good way to uh, 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 add in some criticisms without it automatically being flagged and triggered and censored by YouTube, because it's kind of a response to some other person's commentary. So there are just ways you can go about it. And you have to be very conscious. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You have to be kind of conscious about the way that you're presenting this information, because you could be dead right, but if you post that video 2 weeks before YouTube says you're allowed to say these things, before it becomes mainstream, or a month or whatever, that could be the end of your channel. So I don't like the self censorship. It's kind of unavoidable at this point because of just the way that this shit is set up, and I'm very much against it. I'm very much against it. North American Ape just sent a dollar donation to Streamlabs, and he's also somebody, or not sure, but North American Ape is somebody who also donates to the stream once in a while. Really, whenever I see him in the stream, and I greatly appreciate that. So this in the note that he left with the tip was, quote, why am I putting a quote? North American Ape says they don't even engage on their original point of take the vaccine and so we can go back to normal. It's like you said before, their response to finding out that the vaccines didn't work as intended is, yeah, but if it does work in this way, it's all good. And that's something I'm gonna get into in this next segment, which is just the constant goalpost moving and the gaslighting. I'm really over this shit. I'm really over this shit. So I'm just gonna go to the live chat uh one more time before I name is Mike, just gave me told me to open up an account on Coinbase. I'll definitely look into it, because I mean I ain't definitely not into a position to turn down money. So I'll do it. I'll set it up. If something happens, something happens. Skeptical Mantis says it's buffering. Stream's buffering. Arturo, what's up? What's happening? I'm not sure why the stream's buffering. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still fucking pissed that the stream cut out. That shit was over 30 minutes ago, and I'm still fired the fuck up about it. But anyway, I'm gonna get into this next story, which is the topic, the title of this live stream. Kyle Kulinski and his lazy ass, too lazy to update his vaccine talking points. So I'm gonna get into that. But first, if you guys can contribute to the show, I'd greatly appreciate it. Their links are in the description box right below this video. PayPal if you want to do a one-time contribution. Patreon if you want to sign up and help support the show monthly. $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $15, however much you can to help support the show, help support independent media, would be greatly appreciated. And I mean so much. I'm so grateful for all of my patrons and patrons that I've had over the last few months, and that I've had for a while now. Incredibly grateful for all of you. There are links to GoFundMe so I can have a regular place to record and live. I would greatly appreciate that. So that's in the description box. What else do I have? Oh, there's a link to Cash App in the description box, and that link to Cash App is also pinned in the live chat. So if you just go to the live chat, you can see that link to Cash App. So any ways you guys can help, I'd greatly appreciate it. Skeptical Mantis Channel 10 says, I had a video taken down from my channel because a guy I interviewed on the street shared his opinion on COVID and vaccines. It wasn't even my opinion. I was trying to give a mic to the masses. Yeah, so that's another thing. So like even and there's a lot of people who do on the ground reporting and talking to people in the street and things like that. Uh, Mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, they're all allowed to go interview people and get their opinions on COVID, but regular people aren't allowed to do that because YouTube, the censorship will never come down on corporate media. But again, regular people voicing an opinion outside of the mainstream, even if it's not their opinion, like you said, they're trying to give the microphone to the masses. You can't control what every fucking random person on the street says. And on this issue, which is one of the most the issues that has connected all of us, one of the most the most universal issues that's affected everybody on this planet, which is COVID. Everybody's allowed to have a fucking opinion on it, and it's not like, oh, if you have to have an approved opinion before you're allowed to broadcast it. Everybody's allowed to have a fucking opinion on it, and like if somebody like Skeptical Mantis is goes out into the streets and interviews people, that's shouldn't give YouTube a reason to like take their content down and threaten their channel. That's fucking crazy. All right, so let me get into that Kyle Kulinski video. It is motherfucking 2:00 in the morning. It's 2:00. When did I start? At least an hour and a half into the live stream, if you count the one that got cut, and I'm only one story deep. So we gonna have to move this bitch along. All right. So part of what I do here is media critique, and a critique that I've had for a lot of the most prominent people in independent media has been uh, that a lot of them are just stuck in their ways, and they've like created these talking points that they just use and recycle in video after video after video, and they've been doing this for years. And despite how much things have radically changed on the ground, and the reality for people have radically changed and gotten worse, and the situation, the political landscape in this country has just like continually changes at breakneck speeds. It's like the commentary is stuck in 2017, 2016. And I thought that, and maybe this is foolish me, I thought that with COVID and the how new this all is, and just how this is uncharted territory, I was hoping that this would kind of put new media, make them put them on their toes, and make them have to actually keep up and refresh their ideas, and try to stay up to date with new information and new developments that are really shaking your beliefs, and not just for me, but really a lot of people. These last 2 years with around COVID has changed a lot of the way I view my worldview, and how I view the government, how I view institutions, how I view public health institutions. A lot has changed, and unfortunately, there's so many people in independent media who they found a comfortable narrative with COVID, and they don't they're not gonna budge a fucking inch. They got their talking points from mainstream media and all their other friends in this space, the shit libs in this space, and they're just gonna keep repeating it. And one of the there's so many different niches of commentary or niches of analysis to provide when it comes to COVID, but and the COVID narrative, the official COVID narrative. But the one that we're going to talk about specifically today is around the vaccines, because the official COVID narrative is everybody needs to get vaccinated because yeah, you're not doing it for yourself. You need to do it to protect others, to protect vulnerable people in the community. That's the narrative. And if you don't get the vaccine, you're a terrible person. You're an evil person. You want to kill people's grandmother and all those things. That's what the official narrative when it comes to the vaccines are. Fear mongering and demonizing people who aren't vaccinated, and that's just become the popular refrain in the mainstream media from politicians, public figures. That's just what's acceptable. That's accepted practice now, and it's trickled down to left media online. And as you guys know, Kyle Kulinski has been the poster boy of this kind of lazy ass groupthink, and it's frustrating because I don't know what the fuck to do with these people, because it's not like we aren't making cogent, coherent, strong arguments in the defense of our position. There have been so many people who have done a great job voicing skepticism and criticism of these public health institutions during this entire crisis. People like Kim Iverson, the Convo Couch, and the MCSE Network. Jimmy Dore has done great work on this. So many people. Vanessa Bealey, and I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. With the red hair, she does mainly covers like information technology and national security. Web. You all know who I'm talking about. But yeah, there've been so many people who've pushed back against that. And and it's not just us pushing back against it. We're using data, scientific data from sources that they would normally respect. All these pro-vaccine people would normally respect these sources. And we're presenting them with this data, and they just refuse to acknowledge it. They refuse to engage in any discussion on it. So I really am at a loss for how to even penetrate their fucking blockheads, because they go around as if they are the ones who have a grip on science, while they just cherry pick the shit that confirms their bias, which is whatever they're being fed by the mainstream narrative, and everything else just doesn't exist. So that's like as I've described before, and not I haven't come up with this description, but it's like a vaccine cult, and there's no reasoning with these people, and there's no changing these people's mind. So I have a clip from Kyle Kulinski that perfectly encapsulates what I'm trying to describe for you all. So let me get that video for you all. And while I'm doing that, if you're able to contribute to the show, the links are in the description box of this video. Links to PayPal if you want to do a one-time contribution. Links to Patreon if you want to sign up monthly. Links to GoFundMe so that I can get a regular place to record. Because I've been recording in hotel rooms, so don't really have a place to stay. So all those things would be greatly appreciated if you can help contribute to this show. So this is, yes, I got the clip. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna play this clip, and then I'm gonna come back and break it down with you all.
Had his soft vaccine mandate, and we'll talk about all this in detail. Some people take issue with the term soft mandate, but that's because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about and they're silly. But Joe Biden's soft mandate was slapped down by the Fifth Circuit Court. So let me go ahead and do I have a, yeah, here we go. I have an article for you, or headline. Breaking, Fifth Circuit halts Biden vaccine mandate on businesses over grave constitutional concerns. Okay, so what is Joe Biden's policy? Well, we've talked about this previously, but the idea is simple. If you have a business with 100 employees or more, they need to either get vaccinated or take tests weekly, according to Biden. The businesses themselves might do it more, like every other day or maybe every day, depending on the business. But you either have to get vaccinated or test by early January. So now, let's not wage a war on nuance like some clowns out there. This is why I call it a soft mandate. A hard mandate would be you have to get the vaccine, no excuses, get the vaccine. That's a hard mandate. You want to know why? Because they're making you get the vaccine. If they say you can vaccinate or test, that would be an option. That would be a choice where you can easily opt out of getting the vaccine and just test. By the way, the tests take like 20 seconds. And with a lot of the rapid ones, you get the answer in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So don't act like, this is an infringement on my liberty. Is it really? So just like wearing a seatbelt is an infringement on your liberty, just like if you're working a construction job, you have to wear a helmet, just like that's an infringement on your liberty. Just like when you go to school, they make you get the polio vaccine and the rubella vaccine and measles and mumps and all those. Is that what it is? It's an infringement on your liberty? We have to be careful to not be hyperbolic, because there is such a thing as a reasonable rule and regulation versus something that crosses a line into what's tyrannical. Now, obviously, there's subjective interpretation that's involved in that, but I think people are a little silly when they act like Biden's policy is equivalent to just a hard mandate. It's a pure mandate. No, and you know that, and you're being misleading. People who call that a mandate, stop it. It's not just a mandate. If there's an easy way out of it that's approved, that would be, at best, a soft mandate. And I even think maybe I'm being a little too hard on the administration by calling it a soft mandate. I think it's the most reasonable policy, because the Biden policy, because you have to balance. There's two competing things that lefties care about, two competing values that lefties care about when you talk about vaccinations. One of them is individual rights. So, you have a right to do with your body whatever you want to do with your body as long as you're not hurting anybody else. That's your decision. That's your freedom. So that's one value that we care deeply about. The other value that we care deeply about is the community and the collective good of everybody in society. So how do you balance individual rights and liberty and freedom with the collective well-being if the individual is making decisions that would greatly negatively affect the collective, the community? How do you walk that line? How do you find a balance where, both of those instincts are accommodated for? And thankfully, I think we found one. And that is get vaccinated or test. That's it. Get vaccinated or test.
All right. Let's see, that video got the chat jumping. All right. There's a lot to get to. I'm going to get to his yet another invented imaginary Kyle Kulinski definition of soft mandates. I'll get to that in a minute. And also this really shitty analogy that people keep making to other vaccines. But I'll also get to that. But I want to start with this. I think the the general conversation about whether or not the federal government should be allowed to mandate vaccines almost is irrelevant in this conversation. And let me explain why. Because of course there's always a room to make an argument off of principle, of course. And I do think that is a area that should be explored more among the public and discussed among the public. But when it comes to these specific vaccines, these aren't like the vaccines that many of us got when we were kids, when we were babies, and in going go like school age and things like that. It's not like that for many reasons, but we from what we know about these vaccines, not only do they you have a just as much chance of spreading the virus and catching the virus whether you're vaccinated or not, but also all of these other red flags like the whistleblower that called into question the accuracy of the data in the Pfizer vaccine trials. And also, like I said, the data that it shows that even like the one that was the study that was published in the European Journal for Epidemiology that showed the areas they took data from thousands of counties in the United States and over 60 countries around the world that showed even if you are the areas that are highly vaccinated, places that got like 70, 80, 90% vaccinated, they're still having record amounts of COVID cases. So they're still spreading it. So the idea of these vaccines, there's even a discussion being had about mandating these vaccines is fucking crazy. Not only because of the myocarditis and the heart inflammation and those other adverse effects, but also, like I said, the point, so they want to mandate it to stop the spread, but you get the vaccine and you're still spreading it. So at no point, no angle you look at this, does it make sense to mandate these vaccines onto the public. And so let me get to his idea, like his whole bullshit soft mandate thing. Okay, so again, the whole idea of these mandates makes no sense on logic. Because again, they're saying it's dangerous to spread COVID in the workplace, therefore everybody needs to get vaccinated. Again, missing the point that you get the vaccine and you could still catch COVID and you still be spreading it just like an unvaccinated person. So, and then this whole with Kyle's his love affair with this soft mandate. Oh, get the vaccine or get tested. How much sense does that make sense? Because now you're saying, oh, we're so concerned about people spreading COVID that we're only going to test people who are unvaccinated, even though the vaccinated could also spread it just as much. That makes absolutely no sense. And then it gets to what is the point of the testing isn't to make sure that the workplace is safe from COVID. That's not what the point of testing is. Or else they would have to test everybody because everybody's liable to spread the COVID. The entire point of the testing in this in Biden's mandate is as a form of coercion to make people's life difficult and force them. It's a way of forcing them to take a vaccine that they're not comfortable with. That's the entire purpose of the testing in Biden's mandate. That's the entire purpose of them wanting to shove a Q-tip up way up somebody's nose every day or every week in this Biden mandate. It's not because they want to protect people from COVID, or else they'd have to do that with the vaccinated people too. The entire purpose of it is a tool of coercion. And that's what people's objection, one of the many objections people have with these mandates. You are coercing people into taking something, this experimental drug, to enrich this sketchy, shady ass pharmaceutical company, and you don't know the long term effects of it. And as the data comes out, it shows that you can still catch it and spread it. So it makes no sense, and you're just forcing people to do it, and you're gonna force people to do it, and it's just not true. So he conveniently leaves out, and again, this is what I'm talking about being lazy as fuck, and not uh 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 uh, uh go, dealing with accepting, absorbing information that counters where you are already, your biases already. So he says, like I said, he's in love with the idea of a soft mandate, and it's not a hard mandate. They're not forcing you. Well, almost immediately, it hasn't even been a year yet since these mandates, these soft mandates, were floated, and companies are already saying, yeah, we're not going to be paying for the tests anymore. So now it's on the workers to pay for their tests, or some of them are just going to get fired. There are many companies just threatening to fire people. Government employees, they don't even have the option. It's just get mandated or just get vaccinated or get fired. Those are millions and millions of workers. So it's incredibly disingenuous to act like nobody is being fired over these mandates, because that's not reality, and there are many people losing their jobs over these mandates. And again, on principle, people should be against your employers and the government trying to coerce you into an experimental medical procedure that you're not comfortable with, and that might very well be unnecessary. And so this also gets to the uh, inconvenient science that Kyle conveniently leaves out, and it repeatedly leaves out in all his analysis or a commentary on the vaccines, which is that, again, he will never ever, and this is honestly, it just kind of is getting kind of scandalous, right? All these left media outlets who have been pushing people to get vaccinated, now they won't even present any of the counter evidence that goes against the big pharma narrative. So now they've essentially become just a propaganda outlets for big pharma, and they're not going to give any of the inconvenient information that their audience might need. They aren't going to present it to them at all. Like Kyle, I have never ever seen Kyle do a segment talking about the like the example, the study in that came out from the European Journal for Epidemiology that showed some of the highest vaccinated areas in the United States also having the highest COVID case transmissions in the entire country. Why won't he ever acknowledge that? He won't ever acknowledge that. And when he talks about the vaccine, get it, because it drastically reduces the amount of your likelihood of being hospitalized or dying. And yes, it does reduce that. But again, as I always say, that's being very loose with the math, and that's some funny math you're doing there. Because everybody acts like there's no nuance or there's no variation in how you would respond if you get COVID. If a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old gets COVID, way less likely to end up severely ill or dying of it than a elderly person. But that's not factored in at all. And again, this goes back to a lot of the fear mongering in the mainstream media and just in the public discourse in general, which is like, oh, you need to get vaccinated, or if you get COVID, you're gonna die. And the reality is, most people, if they get COVID, are going to a lot of them won't even have symptoms, but a lot of them they'll get sick. But it's not like going to kill them. It's less than 1% chance of you ending up in the hospital if you are like under 40 and you get COVID. So like again, all of this fear mongering about, and honestly could be, is the numbers higher than that, because like the average age for the person who dies of COVID is like 65, 70 years old or something like that. So again, something that Kyle will never bring up when he's doing his pro Pfizer, pro big pharma PR campaigns. Okay, yeah, they reduce the chance of death, but what were your chances of dying originally? Less than 1%. So you could go out here and brag about, oh yeah, these vaccines reduce your chance of severe illness by 90%. Okay, but 90% less of like less than 1%. That's that's what we're basing this whole, oh, like everybody go and get vaccine approach on, and demonizing anybody who chooses not to do that for themselves, because of it's going to reduce something that was already incredibly unlikely of happening for you, is going to reduce it even more. Therefore, these vaccines are great, and there's no questions about whether or not you should get them. I just think that's incredibly lazy, a lazy way of looking at it. And then he does this shitty trick that so many people keep doing. Like, oh, it's no different than the smallpox vaccine. It's no different than the polio vaccine or rubella or anything like that. One, though, it's this is these vaccines are still experimental, and so when people, it's kind of mandated that you have to take like a polio vaccine or whatever, or the where people are, way more people are willing to take the polio vaccine, because that's something that's been around for decades, and it's, we understand how it works, and people aren't really afraid of or have concerns about what's going to happen with if they take the polio vaccine. And then on top of that, there was never a doubt on the effectiveness or the efficacy of those vaccines. But there are doubts, not only doubts of the efficacy of these vaccines, there are also doubts about the side effects. So to say like this is exactly like taking the polio vaccine, that's that's again lazy. That's fucking lazy. Because if you actually cared about making that analogy and making and checking whether or not it's accurate, you would see there's a lot of reasons to say that's not exactly the same thing. So I'm I'm curious. Are they, because it seems like they're just never ever going to say anything that can even slightly be misconstrued as what's it called, breeding vaccine hesitancy. So that means nobody's going to cover all these endless stories that call into question the efficacy of the vaccine. Nobody's going to do any stories about the Pfizer whistleblower that calls into question the accuracy of the data of the trials. Huge, scandalous regional director who was overseeing 3 testing sites for Pfizer's vaccine trial, and says the whole thing was a shit show. Is anybody in left media, anybody who calls themselves independent media, are they going to cover that? I know Kyle Kulinski's not going to do it. He's not going to fucking do it. So they're all lazy, especially Kyle. They're all comfortable, and like I always say, it's just like a day job. He gets in, he wakes up, gets on Twitter, sees what people are talking about, regurgitates the same old fucking talking points, and he's just not a critical thinker. He's not a critical thinker. So let me see what's happening in the chat. Oh yes, phenomenal mysticism. I was talking about Whitney Webb. And she's done great work on talking about COVID and being critical of the response from governments to the virus. Actually, North American Ape sent another $1 tip through Streamlabs. North American Ape says, so according to this goofball, stuff like the grandfather clause and the literacy test would just be quote soft racism because technically they didn't explicitly say black people can't vote. They gave them options, wiggle room. What a clown. Yes. That is some real clown shit from Kyle. Some real clown shit. And again, thank you so much, North American Ape, for another $1 donation. Jin Do says soft, Kyle soft. Beverly Jensen says it's the world of psyops we live in. All lies for profit. Jindo says gentle police terror. Aziz says, what's soft about losing your job and going homeless? Hey, Kyle, he invented it. And like I said, his lazy ass just came up with it one day and he will never ever back down from it. And it's just going to be permanently etched into his talking points on this topic. Like I said, it was COVID was completely uncharted territory, so he had to produce some talking points that he doesn't usually use, and one of them is this shitty soft mandate that makes absolutely no fucking sense. North American Ape says Aziz, well, Graham has lost his goddamn mind trying to act like mandates are no biggie. Yeah, Graham Elwood's kind of turn on this was definitely weird and unexpected. Wait, did North American Ape send another $1 tip, or was that from the first one? Oh no, North American Ape sent another $1 tip to Streamlabs. Quote: I'm assuming that that's why he doesn't cover any of the worker strikes that are happening in multiple states. It would fly in the face of his soft mandates BS. Folks are being fired because of the mandates. Who's this? Whose man's is this? That's a great point, North American Ape. And I was actually that was one of the stories that didn't make it into this live stream because I wasn't going to be able to get to it. In Washington State, 3% of the government workers in the state are being fired because of the mandates. And I believe over like 500 people from the transportation department. So this has caused massive disruption in Washington State transportation system. And again, because of these mandates. And that's just one example, but all across the country and really all across the world, there's so many people pushing back against these vaccine mandates. And so I'm definitely gonna be talking about that Washington State story tomorrow, if not Friday, in the live stream. I'm definitely gonna do a live stream tomorrow, but like I said, I have so many stories. So if I don't get to that Washington State story, I'll have to do that on Friday. Beverly Jensen says, "Tasty boot, Kyle." Name is Mike. Crystal knows Kyle is soft. Mayville Jones says, "Who the fuck he think? Who the fuck he thinks is making all the money on these tests anyway?" That's a good question. Jody Okafor says, Kyle has turned into a mouthpiece for elites and their totalitarianism. Crystal Ball has been such a bad influence on him. Yeah, yeah. I can't argue with that. Um, Even from before they started doing their show together, it was clear that they were always like talking and like trading talking points back and forth. Oh my fucking god. Them with the polls. Oh my god. One of them will find a stupid fucking poll about some stupid shit that nobody gives a fuck. And the two of them would just pass it around and it would just be the recycled content on each other's. But the two of them were, I mean, it was not in a good direction when he even met up with Crystal Ball. But then when he started doing his show together, that was it. That there was no bringing him back after that. Aziz says Chomsky is giving all these clowns cover. Yes, the manager of the left. Paul Eisenberg says higher correlation of high vax population with more transmission suggests that vax spread it more as asymptomatic spreaders, and that was my takeaway from the study in the it was a Harvard study that was published in the European Journal for Epidemiology. My takeaway is it looks like it's spreading more where there's more vaccine. The official summary of the study says there's no correlation. I thought they were just doing that to be me. This is me personally. I just thought they were doing that because it would have been way too hot and way too controversial to say that the vaccinated are actually spreading it more. And there's a reason, an explanation as to why that may be, and one that has made sense to me, which is that they're just more reckless because all the propaganda, all the fear mongering is, oh, it's those scary unvaccinated people who are spreading it. But if you're vaccinated, oh, you could go do everything you fucking want, and that's exactly what they're doing. So that's probably why they're spreading it more. That's what I think could be. He says, I'm just waiting for Kyle to start saying my good friend Joe Biden. Paul Eisenberg says it's just a straight up subsidy for farmer profits. Anyone who doesn't consider the for profit motivations is either super naive or purposely deceiving. And that's something that I wanted to bring up in the first segment I did, and I also wanted to bring up in this that I completely forgot. Thank you for bringing it up. So after all we've learned at this point, the cover ups, the flawed trials, the questions about the efficacy of the vaccine, and nobody is willing to pull the plug on this and say, all right, this isn't working out we thought it would. Let's stop with this push to get everybody vaccinated with these questionable vaccines. Despite any of the data that comes out, nobody's going to take that conclusion. So it leads me to the conclusion that Paul Eisenberg says right there, that this is just a straight up subsidy for the pharmaceutical industry. And it's no matter what data comes out, no matter how ineffective it might be, it just seems like It was a money making operation, and you could even say from back in the trials, because it seemed like the conclusion was predetermined that they were going to push this out regardless, which is why they did what they did with the vaccine trials, as the whistleblowers shows. So all of this just seems like a big ass money making operation. So all the people who claim to be independent thinkers and really believe that these pharmaceutical companies created these vaccines for the public good, and these governments and institutions are pushing it for the public good. Do you think? I want to know, like, what are the chances? Do you think it is that there's a whole lot of corruption here, and like we've been talking about, it's just a money making operation, and this is a giant subsidy to make sure that governments are forced to buy billions of dollars worth of this product from these companies. Like, how likely do you think that is? Because that's where a lot of the evidence is pointing at this point. And again, I'm not hearing most of these bigger channels even float that as a possibility. And I think that's fucking crazy. That it's not even on your radar that this might be some type of just big ass money making operation for these pharmaceutical companies. And they have all the incentive to do it, and they have all the means to do it. They bought the media, they bought the FDA, they own the politicians. So if there was a scenario where they did make a shitty vaccine and didn't give a fuck because they were gonna use the institutions that they own to drive the public to buy them regardless, if there was ever a scenario where that could present itself, it's right now. So I really wonder what all these people who are just uncritically doing pharma talking points and propaganda, how do you think that's even a possibility here at all? Oh, I have to let me give a shout out to everybody who donated on Cash App last week while we're here. Megan, I want to give you a shout out. Sent me $25 donation on Cash App. And Julie and Lance, thank you all for your Cash App donations. I'm reading that was from last week. I haven't done a live stream, so I wasn't able to thank them. So if anybody else can contribute, the links are in the description box. Links to Patreon, links to PayPal, in the description box. PayPal if you want to do one-time contribution. Patreon if you want to help support the show monthly. There's a link to GoFundMe, so I could get a place to live and a place to record. I've been recording out of hotels. Not ideal. There's a link to Cash App in the description box, and there's also a link to Cash App pin in the live chat. There's also a link to Streamlabs in the description box if you want your donation to come up on screen, like Jody and North American Ape has done during the live stream. Emblem Fate. Glad to see you in the live stream. Haven't seen your comments much. Oh, also Anthony Tillerman. I enjoy reading all your comments. I literally read every single one of your comments. Again, I'm shitty at responding. I get it, but I really wish that some of you guys who leave great comments on my regular videos would join the live stream sometime so I can have some back and forth. But Emblem Fate, you said I think it's I think saying Kyle's lazy is giving him too much uh truth. I guess it's too much credit. Truth is he's legit doesn't care about these people's concerns. Uh so he's willing to write them off. That's a fair point. There's a fair point. I won't argue with you on that. Skip over it says it's called riding the gravy train, boys. Hey man, I'd be lying if I said the money wasn't there. I'd be lying if I said the money wasn't there. So y'all make with that what you will. There's definitely money into saying all this bullshit. Um, so I'm gonna get into this last segment that I had prepared. I'm gonna just do it quick because I saw. I mean, other people have commented on this. I felt some type of way, so I felt like I'm going to comment on it. Um, but uh, let me see if I could find it. Was it the second video? Yes, it was. All right. Damn. Nigga voice giving out, baby. I was gonna try to sing after this live stream, but my voice is gone. Um, uh, all right. So over the last couple of days, there has been political theater going on the other side of the world. The COP26 summit is supposed to be this international climate summit where people, governments come together from around the world and pretend like they're doing something about climate change and act like they're not all taking money from the people exacerbating the crisis. All these fucking climate summits over the last 20 years, 30 years has been a bunch of bullshit that have produced no results because the climate crisis has accelerated, has multiplied. Um, all while they meet every year and pretend like they're going to do something and bring us closer to the doorstep of the apocalypse. But anyway, COP26 is going on. COP26 was going on. And AOC made an appearance and did an interview. she was she talked about the U.S. Uh, response to the climate crisis, and again, as always, serving you up some bullshit, feeding you that bowl of shit, and that establishment bowl of shit, and pretending like it's fudge sundae. As always, lying to you for the establishment. She'll never you every time you see her, she's lying to you for the establishment. So take that, make with that what you will. But I have that clip. It's really funny. I'm gonna show it to you. Then we can come back and break it down. Sorry, give me 1 second. All right, so here it is.
America is back at COP, and on the international stage as a leader in climate action and drawdown. One thing that I think is so exciting about this time is that when we say that the United States is back, it's not just that we're back in the way that the United States was pursuing climate policy before. It is different. And I would argue that it's a fundamentally different approach.
All right. We're back. She says. She says we're back. She says there's nothing to worry about here, guys. The Democrats control government. Joe Biden's in the White House, and we're on track with the climate policy. Right? If you listen to AOC, you wouldn't think that we should all be alarmed for the future of humanity and life on this planet. Because if you listen to AOC, it sounds like the Democrats got this under control, right? But she's, again, lying to you at the behest of the establishment, as she always does. Because that's her role. To sheepdog the left and to kneecap any type of left dissent while the Democrats control government. That's her role. And to say, I mean, this is some real gross shit, and this is some real dark shit, right? Because if you aside from the funny, like, haha, of course, like you debase yourself once again, and you have no self-respect, and you come out and you're shilling for the Democratic Party again. Aside from that, what is she doing here? As the Democrats are taking us over the cliff towards apocalyptic, cataclysmic climate future, and this is one of our last opportunities to do anything about it, right? She's out there kneecapping any type of left agitation or not even left agitation from the public to do something, to force the government to do something. She's out there kneecapping it by pretending there's nothing wrong here, and giving cover to, as always, the neoliberal and the corporatists in the Democratic Party, who are at the root of the problem. So, again, pretend like there's nothing to be concerned about here because Democrats, they're running the show. Big bad scary Donald Trump is out, and yeah, he pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, and oh my God. By the way, Joe Biden hasn't even gotten back into this shit, and also, the Paris Climate Accord was a bunch of bullshit anyway. I don't think Biden's gotten into it. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a bunch of bullshit. But so what is Joe Biden doing? Lest we forget, the person who Biden picked to be one of his top environmental and policy advisors in the White House was Cedric Richmond. Cedric Richmond was a congressperson, and he was a congressperson who took the most money from the fossil fuel industry and big polluters and things like that. And so now that's the person giving Biden his top advisor on climate policy. Person who was and his district had some of the worst pollution in the entire country. Actually, I think it had literally was the most polluted district, with the worst air pollution in the entire country, and he never once did anything about it. Used his position in Congress to do anything about it because he was paid not to by the fucking polluters, and he's directing climate policy under the Biden administration. Under the Biden administration, fracking permits continue to be granted. In that bullshit infrastructure bill that just got passed through Congress, there's subsidies for the fossil fuel industry. $25 billion, more than $25 billion in subsidies to the fossil fuel industry. This is what's happening under the Democratic administration. Again, we're told that the Democrats are the serious people when it comes to the climate. And if we have any chance of addressing this problem, it's only going to happen when Democrats control government, right? Well, this is the last chance that Democrats are going to have complete control of government before the window that climate scientists give us completely closes, and we're facing cataclysmic conditions during our lifetime. And they're making the problem worse, and this person who sold herself as this radical who was going balls to the wall, and she was going to the mat on the issue of the climate crisis. That's what she built herself as, right? She sold herself as this environmental leftist, and now she's out there shilling for the establishment that's bringing us towards climate apocalypse while we're in the middle of a mass extinction event. So I don't know what the hesitation is to call these people out for like what they really are. They're they're helping the oligarchs destroy the fucking planet and destroy the country. And so I'm tired of people acting like, oh, these are our allies with bad strategy. Yeah, they're our allies, but every time they open their fucking mouth, they're trying to gaslight us and try to get us to go along with neoliberalism, which is the fundamental opposite of what this moment calls for and what this movement calls for. But yet somehow people want me to believe that these politicians like AOC, the Justice Democrats, and Bernie Sanders, they're all so dumb that they don't realize every time they come out in public that they're playing for the other team. Or not that they're so dumb that this is just some part of some chess master long game that they're running, and at some point they're going to get everything they want by lying to us for the establishment every fucking opportunity that they get. So I think it was gross. That clip was gross. She has no fucking shame. None of them have any fucking shame anymore. And that's what happens when you ride a movement and you have absolutely no fear of any type of consequences when you just completely sell out. North American Ape says she says a whole lot of nothing. Yeah. Mastered that Obama talk. She even sound like the rest of them shitty neoliberals like Obama, saying a bunch of shit and nothing of substance coming out. What was the substance in that answer? Oh, we're back, and we're not just back. We're back, and we've made some fundamental changes. So it's not back to when Biden was vice president in an administration that oversaw the largest oil production in U.S. history. We're not going back like that. We're just going back to Democrats controlling everything and also still exacerbating the climate crisis. Like, what the fuck? What was this substance in anything? Again, yeah, North American. How is it different? Can we get some specifics? No? Okay. Aziz, but the micro and the macro. Really. It is all about the micro and the macro. And if you don't understand that, you're lost in the sauce. That's all I'm going to tell you. Phenomenal mysticism says AOC is a propagandist of the highest order. That is fucking true. That is fucking true. Aziz says AOC is as progressive as Bernie's brave. Beverly Jets says we used to call this a Mexican standoff. All pointing fingers, all guilty and corrupt. Who shoots first? Yeah, that's basically what those climate summits are. And they're gonna do them shits until like the fucking is raining fire. They're going to meet every year, pretend like they're doing something about the climate crisis until it's fucking hell opens up and it's raining hellfire and the seas dried up and fucking apocalypse. They will still be doing these bullshit kabuki theater climate summits. Ashura says, "Can we now say that the squad are establishment Democrats?" Yes, that is a fair criticism. It's I've been there for a while. I've actually have a Substack article on this that I need to finish and publish. But basically, they shown time and time again that they're just part of the establishment, and this distinction really needs to be made because people need to understand how silly they look. Like Kyle Kulinski with his fucking video. Oh, it's now or never, guys. You got to really stand up against the Democrats for this infrastructure thing. You trying to convince the Justice Democrats to actually do something to advance a left policy agenda. You might as well just pick some rando corporate Democrat, rando establishment Democrat, and give them your fucking strategy to get Medicare for all and expect them to do it. They aren't going to fucking do it. You have just a good chance of making any rando establishment Democrat do what you want them to do as these Justice Democrats. So again, stop trying to separate them because they're no different from the rest of the Democrats. They just don't. Actually, I won't even say that. There's really no difference between them. All right, y'all. I am going to log off soon. If anybody has anything left to say, say it in the live chat. It's 3 a.m. where I am. I'm going to do another live stream. Oh shit, today's Thursday. I'm trying to do another live stream tonight. Also, want to go live with Franco from Frank Analysis. He wanted me to come on today. He wants me to come on Thursday, so I have to do that. I have to prepare for that. So I have a lot to do. So if you have any last things, say them in the live chat. If you're able to contribute, links to the description box. Links are in the description box. Links to PayPal for one-time contribution. Patreon if you want to help support the show monthly. PayPal, I already said that. GoFundMe, I have a GoFundMe for a place to stay and a regular place to record. Links to Cash App in the description box. Links to Cash App's also pinned in the live chat. And I have to use the bathroom. I've been holding it in. Honestly, I think since I started this live stream, I had to use the bathroom. So best that I don't pee myself on stream. And then again, if I did, you wouldn't know. So I take that last part back. Who cares if I pee myself on stream? All right, Beverly. I will see you next live stream, and I'll be on. I have to confirm with Franco because I wasn't sure if I would have a hotel room to do this. So I just have to make sure he's still doing that panel, and I should have done that actually 2 days ago, but I forgot. Dan, thanks, bro. Have a good night. Thank you for showing up. Independent Left News, Nightman heading to bed. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching the live stream. Thanks for sharing after this fucking stream ended. Jody, so much fun tonight. Yes, thank you. I did have fun too, except for that little thing. I'm so fucking annoyed that I have to, cause I have to find a way. Like I have to put them videos together. And, oh my god, the comments aren't gonna be there. It was a good. There were great comments. While I was doing this segment that I didn't get to do, that I didn't get to. I was very frustrated that the stream ended. I have some more stories that I'm gonna cover. Technically tonight, on Thursday night, I have more stories that I'm gonna do in the live stream that you guys are definitely gonna like. So tune in for that. Also, I'm supposed to do the first panel I'm gonna do for the General Strike Summit is supposed to be Friday at 11, I think. Um, I'm not sure exactly what other panels I'm gonna be on. It's kind of a free for all, I think. Uh, so I'll get in where I get in. But y'all see me there. And Hardlands couldn't do it this week. I think they have room Monday, so I'm gonna try to do that. But then again, Independent Left News says if only there was a network with video editors who could help. If only, if only, if only. uh, news on that. News on that, folks, for y'all who aren't up on it. Nobody's just testing to see whether or not I'm shadowed banned from this live stream. I am for about half the of all live streams I tried to comment on. Well, I saw your comment. Screw Google says peace out everyone. Thanks for showing up. Screw Google. Oh no, I can do it. I'm because I always do it, but like I would like especially bigger stories. I cut them up. I'm just annoyed. I was just very fucking annoyed by that because the thing was going pretty smooth, and then the whole shit just interrupts, and it's just annoying. But thank you, Independent Left, for the offer. I don't want to abuse your charitability before I've made any commitments. If you know what I mean. Nobody zero. Let me tell you, you probably should have came in the live stream a little earlier because I'm going to end it soon. Damn, my eyes is killing me. I'm because I really don't have it in me to read and respond to all those comments right now. I'm really tired, like I said. So if you could come back in the live stream tomorrow, we could probably have a conversation. But everybody else, thank you so much. Contribute if you can. That was probably weird that I was rubbing the shit out of my eyes for like the last 5 minutes, but they started to burn. Okay, I'm ending the stream. Thank you everybody for showing up tonight. I will catch y'all.